Being on your toes or being flat-footed, which one is better? Which one should you be doing? On this video, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of both of them so you know which one you should be doing and when you should be doing it. Because there's a lot of benefits to both of them and there's a lot of negatives to both of them as well. My name's Tony Jeffries, Olympic bronze medalist, former undefeated professional, 7 times national champion, European champion. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Big thank you to Sam Kirkdale for requesting this video in the comments below. Guys, if you've got any video requests you want me to make, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be reading them all. So, should you be on your toes? Should you be flat-footed? It's funny because when I turned professional after having a very successful amateur career where I was on my toes a lot, everyone told us, Tony, you need to slow it down. You need to plant your feet and throw them punches. But a lot of them people were wrong. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. First thing I'm going to break down is flat-footed. The pros and cons of being flat-footed. So the biggest pro of being flat-footed is you can generate more power in your punches. So when I'm here, I'm flat-footed, and as you can see, I'm generating a lot of power right there. As long as you're turning your hips and fully extending, exhaling, doing all the right things, you can generate so much power when you've got your feet planted here. Then also, your balance is better when you're flat-footed. Compared to being up on your toes, you're flat-footed, you can throw. My balance is really good there, throwing these longer combinations. Guys, I've done a full video on how to keep your balance when throwing long combinations. You can check that one out after here. And yes, balance is very important. Once you've got your feet planted, you can get really good balance. And kind of following on with your balance is you can work better inside when your feet is planted. So I'm inside. So now, because these feet are planted, I can work great inside. And another massive benefit of being flat-footed is you're saving more energy. If you're walking around the ring like this, you know, you're not using much energy at all. So you can save a lot more energy. So let me tell you about the cons of being flat-footed. The first one is your punches from the outside are generally slower. Because you're flat-footed, your punches are going to be slower. And then for me, the worst thing about being flat-footed is you're relying on head movement and reactions for defense. You'll be inside, and the only way you can really defend is by you moving your head, blocking here, taking the punches here. If you're not moving your feet to defend, it's very risky because that means you're always in range to get hit. Now on your toes, the pros and cons of being on your toes. The number one is you've got better defense. If you're on your toes, you can defend better. And footwork is by far the best defense that you can do. Because if you think about it, if I'm here and someone throws a punch and I step back, I've got out the way of the punch. But if the punch is coming and it is landing and I'm stepping at the same time, it's going to take the sting out of the punch. So footwork defense is the best sort of defense you can do. So when I'm on my toes, I can be in and out, defending, always ready for that punch, coming back and getting out the way of it. Also, a big, massive pro for this is you can punch faster. Yes, you can punch faster when you're on your toes. I've done a video on how to instantly punch faster. Check that out. And one of the things that I talk about is moving in and out with your feet. When I'm moving in and out with my feet, I punch faster. And Manny Pacquiao was an absolute master at doing this. He would step, and punch at the same time, and that's how he generated so much hand speed. Another thing, it looks better. You look like a better fighter when you're here on your toes compared to here, plodding forward. You know, this doesn't really look very good. But if you're on your toes, it looks way better. But for me, the big one is the defense, moving in and out, keeping your opponent thinking. And this is why I prefer to be on my toes compared to being flat-footed. And there is a time and a place for both. But now let's get on to the cons of being on your toes. The biggest one is it uses more energy. But what one of my old amateur boxing trainers, David Binns, who was an amazing coach, he still is an amazing coach, used to tell us was if you can box on your toes and box like that for 4 2-minute rounds, you can do it for 12 3-minute rounds. All it comes down to is conditioning. Now, if you look at someone like Muhammad Ali in his early days, he was a master at moving around on his toes. So that kind of dismisses that con about it using more energy. Even though it does, you've just got to condition yourself to be able to do it for longer. Now, another con is that your punches is not going to be as hard. But when you mix it up on your toes with planting your feet, you can still punch hard. That's why you should master both of them, being on your toes and being flat-footed. And then the other con, I guess, is balance. You know, you might be losing your balance when you're moving around, trying to throw these punches, but when you practice this, you're only going to get better at it and you're never going to lose your balance. So which one should you be practicing? Guys, before I tell you this, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell notification to get notified every time I upload a boxing education video like this one. Also, give me a like, any comments below, I'll be reading them all. So you should be practicing both, a bit of both. I would advise practicing more on your toes because it's harder to box on your toes like this than it is flat-footed. So once you master moving in and out, being on your toes, working on them fast punches, all of the pros that I said about being on your toes, then you can work on being flat-footed. But I believe so much that working on your footwork is very important. Footwork is the most important thing in boxing. Without your feet underneath you, you're going to be probably useless everywhere else. There's not many great fighters who didn't have great footwork. Please subscribe for more videos like this.